Hey friends, this is the Mrs. Yeah, don't look at my hair. I haven't brushed it yet. This is the Mrs. Wolfie from our half-acre homestead. And I was going to work in the garden today, but it's raining. So I'm going to take advantage of the weather while it's cool and damp to make soup. Let's do a pantry pull soup. You name it, I don't know what to call it other than pantry pull soup. Here's what we have. We have a jar of my home canned vegetable broth, 2 cloves of garlic from the garden, a jar of pork, a jar of sludgy potatoes and onions. We got celery, some dehydrated carrots, an onion, and a yellow crookneck squash. Let's get busy. So let's turn this on high because it's noon, so we want it ready by supper. Told you I wasn't going to only use the air fryer. Now I'm going to put half of this broth in here because I'm going to use it to rinse out the jars. 4 jars always pops. Let's get our pork in there. You can use whatever canned meat you have. There's a jar of sludgy potatoes. And remember to use the broth in all of these, folks. Celery. Use the rest of the broth. Swish out these jars. And they go. On a handful of carrots. Start with the crookneck squash because onion and garlic skins have a tendency to get all over. I picked these yesterday. I've got a few of them. Some are going to end up in the freezer. Someone told me to pick the yellow crookneck squash while they're fairly small. Howie doesn't like big pieces of zucchini or anything, so we're going to cut it up fairly small. I could use my chopper, but why get it out, right? It's soup. It doesn't matter how fine it is. And we're just going to nice pieces of fresh garden yellow crookneck squash. I've never worked with it before, so in the pot that goes. And now we're just gonna, actually let's do the garlic first because it's already peeled. Someone once asked me, do you never use fresh garlic? Yeah, when I got it. Just give it a little bit of a mince. We don't mind chunks. 2 nice sized cloves of garlic. And now the messy one, the onion. Yes, there's onions in the sludgy potatoes, but not enough for a good soup. Now notice I always use all the juice in the vegetable jars and stuff. Why? Because that's the flavor, isn't it? These are just going to be coarsely chopped. No skins allowed. And into the crock that goes. That is going to be some yummy soup. Now we're going to put some cracked black pepper in there. 2-finger pinch of salt. And later, before we eat it, we're going to add some noodles. But you know what else I'm going to do? I'm just going to add a little shot of soy sauce for color and flavor. That's better, yeah. All right, we're going to put the lid on this. Yes, folks, this is clean. It's just really old and beat up. And there we put our cover on. People ask me why I put a cover on. It just heats things faster. we'll see you later when we put the noodles in. It's been a couple of hours. Let's have a look at our soup. Oh, this looks lovely. Smells good too. I think I'll have a taste of that, see if it needs anything. Oh, that's lovely. All that's gonna need is some noodles. And a couple more hours. All right, supper's in about a half an hour. So we're going to drop, whoa, I put in the wrong type of noodle, folks. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, we can fix that. A little bit of macaroni never hurt anyone. We'll throw in some egg noodles just to be safe. Get these all stirred in here. And then maybe I'll make some biscuits so we can have some biscuits with it. And maybe some biscuits and jam for dessert. Make sure you can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to put in 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon of salt. I used about a half a teaspoon. And 4 tablespoons, because this is a quick biscuit, guys. So 4 tablespoons, which is about that, of baking powder. Now, if you want a sweet biscuit, you can add some sugar, but we don't need to. 3/4 of a cup of milk. Whoops, making a mess. This is just a fast biscuit recipe, folks. I make my dumplings the same way. If you want to use these as dumplings, you go right ahead. And we're going to use 1/3 of a cup of sunflower oil. You use whatever oil works for you. We're going to drop that right in on top of the milk. We're going to make sure that our baking powder and our salt and our flour is all well mixed. And then we're just going to do this. This is my same recipe I use for dumplings. Whoops. I should have put an apron on, but I'm kind of in my PJs today. I'm taking it easy. It's raining. Now we want to get this all brought together. And what do we need to preheat our oven to? 450 degrees. I'm going to say 400 for me. Okay, 425. We're just going to kind of bring this all together. We're going to knead it 3 or 4 times. We just kind of want to bring it together. We want to make sure that all the wet and dry ingredients are well mixed. I may have put a little bit too much flour in, but that's all right. Cookie sheet there. We'll just roll this. Let's move the cookie sheet over here. I'm just going to give this a nice roll, and because we folded it and kneaded it, they should be quite flaky. going to be a little flaky around the edges, but we're just going to pop them, press them. If they're a little rough around the edges, and just give them a, whoops, see how they're falling apart? That means they're going to be nice and flaky. This is just a fast biscuit recipe. If you wanted to make them, you would, for dumplings, you'd use a little bit less flour. So these are going into a 425-degree oven for 12 to 15 minutes. Here's our biscuits hot out of the oven. And we'll let them rest for a minute while we dish up the soup. I was glad I didn't put the oven at 450 degrees, only 425, because they are browned. Now let's have a look. Our soup looks more like stew with all them noodles. Here we go. Oh yeah, this is good stuff. Well, I accidentally put some macaroni in it, Howard, and then I added egg noodles. Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? The biscuits are brown, a little bit, but let's have a look. Oh, lovely. They just flake apart. They're rather small. I think I prefer making biscuits with lard though, but we'll see. They'll be nice for biscuits and jam for dessert. Let's get our supper over to Papa. Soup and biscuits. Okay, tonight is a pantry pull meal. Soup and biscuits.
And biscuits.
You can have the biscuits with your soup, and then you can have biscuits and jam afterwards.
Wonderful.
Watch us hot.
It is. That is very tasty too.
Now try, dip a biscuit. They'll flake apart, so be careful. And you could have some for dessert with jam. Thank you, honey. This is the Mrs. Wolfie from our half-acre homestead saying I was going to pick beans today, but it's raining. So it's a pantry pull meal. Soup and biscuits for a rainy day. Mwah! Take care. God bless.